Okay, folks, just gonna let this one roll. I was a little bit apprehensive that I was gonna lose this data as I tried to post this comment, but I had an most unusual for me, that is, and that I never seen this before. I'm sure some of you are aware of this, but I don't know. It seemed to me that it had AI written all over it. But I think there's a little bit more to it. Let me know what you think. But anyway, let me just read this. This comment was deemed as not relevant, not making a relevant argument. Okay, but you listen to what I'm saying here, and I'm going to read this without telling you what particular video I was responding to, belonging to someone. But I think you'll get a picture here of why such a comment was disabled from posting. Okay? I mean, they've done it. I mean, it's happening, it seems. I don't mean to sound paranoid, but just check this out. Whether you agree with me, whether you don't agree with me, I'm okay with that. But just consider this. The kind of things that are being silenced. Okay? What you believe is true, you can do your own research, whatever. But opinions are being suppressed now. Check this out. Okay, here was my response, starting with. This was, okay, first of all, let me just explain that this is a debate concerning environmental issues and awareness, etc., in America. I'm not going to talk, like I said, I won't mention the channel, and I won't mention, I won't mention the channel or the actual video, right? But I'll just give you a brief understanding of what I was reacting to. And that was environmental speeches made by, celebrities voicing an opinion, which on the surface seems valid, but there are things to be questioned. They were Hollywood celebrities that seem to be virtue signaling, but yet not really having a clear understanding about what they're talking about. And locked in a polarity, this stuff just goes on and on and on. Anyway, let me just get to my comment here. Here's my contention. Okay, I'm going to tell you right away, there's a lot of foul language in this. But if it was a matter of foul language that they wanted to prevent my comment from going through, they should have said that, not it's an invalid argument. I say that there's a lot of arguments I make here. It's more about making people aware of things. They try to sweep it under the rug, or sweep it under the rug as an invalid. Any reason not to post it. AI's got a stamp. I don't know. It seems like it's all over this. Okay, goes like this. Here's my contention. The fuckers will go to the end of the earth to virtue signal and make people aware of the environmental crisis, which even I am aware of to a certain degree since the 80s. Of course, my generation was the one that ushered in the blue box up here in Canada to a certain... Oh, God, we were going nuts with packaging and stuff and fast food. Anyway, I digress. I better stick to this message because it's quite lengthy. Anyway, but they will say fuck all about the unchecked, ignored, and exponential growth of global population. Give me a fucking break. Fuck the left and right. Mankind is an idiot. Sorry, Harrison, but we forgot the natives weren't surrounded by any more than 750 million people globally. From Plymouth Rock to present day, we reached over 8 billion. Idiots. Keep ignoring it. All the sideshow issues are a result of a deeper core problem. Man's problem, and the problem for their fucking environmental concerns, I'm sorry to point out, is man himself. But yes, Harrison, we are a part of the environment, as you say. But just making policy and becoming more responsible isn't enough when our main fucking producer of environmental assault is our fucking numbers themselves. Let me ask you a question. What is more likely to take place as an effective means of combating such a problem as this? Successfully convincing worldwide populations to do the right fucking thing, or reducing the fucking offenders by, over time, reducing total population to reasonable numbers? It's not fucking rocket science. How can people be so naive? Meanwhile, you have certain entities who claim to be on the right telling you that the West isn't having enough children anymore and certainly won't be able to sustain its current numbers. My question would be, what portion or percentage of the West are you talking about? Who are you talking about? That's another issue. Anyway, when the question's asked, I say, what? Am I fucking hearing this correctly? Why the fuck would we be wanting or even aspiring to maintain such a fucking number? Are we that stupid? 8 billion people is not meant to be sustained. 7 billion was breaking capacity. Somebody is concerned about numbers maintained or even increased for their own parasitic benefit. Let me give you a hint about what we are talking about. Likes, subscribes, views, and your very next order. Doi, let's go viral, bruh. You see, people can talk a good talk, but in the end, you will find there is plenty room for selfish pragmatism in an endgame mentality. Be as friendly as you fucking want. That factor stands apart from the whole point. How are we doing? Go ahead. Blame the messenger. Huxley knew and saw this back in the late 50s, predicted our current state. He was warning us, yet was dismissed as an alarmist and a trigger for the topic of eugenics. All the mass stupidity and ridiculous ideology and legislation to get along has been imposed upon a people that are systematically being duped into being crammed together. The thing is, the suckers have convinced themselves it's all about what kind of people they think they themselves are and who those that don't agree are. It's shit-wit by default. Smart people that become dumb as a bag of fucking hammers. And the biggest virtue signalers will be the 1%ers who can afford to remain aloof. Way to go, Western civilization, and good luck convincing the third world, either in their own nations or in yours, newly landed, that we need to cut down on procreation. In a matter of less than 2 decades, complete facelifts dished out culturally and structurally. Good on ya, me beauties. So fucking stupid. Virtue signaling ignorance. Caring isn't the same as understanding. So sick of it. What is worse is that my rant can only be deemed as hate. That's the problem. The truth no longer matters. It's all about social credit bullshit and how people feel about what is said. Cheerleading without research. It's like banning plastic bags in the supermarket while not having a clue what the real offenders are legally putting into landfill. Morons, half-cocked. Aunt Sally's reusable bag is an emotional implement that, while ineffective, makes her feel better about caring. Horse shit. A gesture of governments that know better but stroke job the public into thinking progress is being made under their watch. Meanwhile, their bread is being buttered by most of the biggest offenders. LOL. Hell, sometimes I think the opposition to the so-called concerned, in quotes, could do a better job and actually produce results. Guess what, Sally? Your fucking bag isn't making a dent by the way of a solution. Sorry to be the one to tell you, but there we go again. Doesn't feel good hearing it, huh? Blame the messenger. Go ahead. What difference will it make? You see, the reason man continues to sink socially along with the fucking environment around him is because the average shithead is examining the wrong parameters. They took the plastic bag out of supermarkets, even though the bag itself was a thin gray that was manufactured that actually does break down with successive exposure to water and temp erosion. In a sense, we conquered the problem with bags that were better suited for breakdown naturally and better suited for recycling. There is more that you don't want to hear. You see, in Canada, we were promoting the biodegradable garbage bags in the late 80s. Isn't it ironic that the same bored housewives won't use them because they are inconvenient in that you must handle them with a bit more care so they don't tear? You see, Sally talks a good whine, but she is often full of shit when put to the task or test. But don't tell her. Not if you know what's good for her. Or not if you know what's good for you, you won't. You will very quickly find yourself engaged in an emotional issue instead of logical conclusions. Am I lying? Does it matter? LOL. You see, when you live long enough, you get to witness the merry-go-round in complete rotation. They took plastic bags in the grocery stores away for environmental reasons. Okay. Guess what? As a Gen Xer, I saw them put plastic bags in the grocery stores for environmental reasons. 2. In the early 80s. To replace paper bags. You know, it's funny. I remember going into a chain bookstore and I was offered a paper bag with those straps, you know, the ones that always break off. And I said, "Oh, you're doing paper bags now?" She looked at me like I was some sort of ignoramus and said, "Nobody uses plastic bags anymore." I think she was trying to teach me something. I think she was virtue signaling. I can't really tell. I didn't have to have the heart to tell the youngster that paper bags were replaced in the 80s with plastic for environmental concerns. What's the point? We're fucked. Anyway, you think I'm lying? Instead of getting into everything this bag replacement implies, let me just say this. If you want real fucking results, don't be duped by the big money and some political party chanting the right slogans but getting you fucking nowhere. If you ask me if Americans need to be a bit more aware and informed about environmental concerns, you got my fucking vote. But in that pursuit, stop falling for the complete polarization of your left and right political ping-pong idiocy. You better find that center ground or invent an alternative party and start finding common ground. Not that I have any faith in that ever happening, or that you ever will. Brainwashed in both directions, right where they always wanted you. Divided, yet a division that is preferably close. We'll say 48 to 52 is the ideal. Yeah, that's the ideal, dum-dums. Now you're under control. Thinking your real enemy is your opposition. LOL. Both sides seem so ignorant of the realities on either end of the spectrum. The people remain suckered in back and forth, back and forth. It's for the fucking birds. See, in Canada, some of us, we long since learned about that our conservatives and our liberals were both simply wrestling for the same teat. And we're not very divided on some of the most voiced issues the public was concerned with. And both seem deaf to the loudest cries. How does America keep getting suckered into the same shit, term after term? It's fascinating and disturbing. Let me tell you about something else. Justin and his liberals did whatever they could to discourage the oil sand potential we have in Alberta. Actually, the liberals leaned on this for years. But people were not told why and what the true motivation was and who was really pressuring this discouragement. Let me be blunt. It's not about the fucking environmental concern at all. It's all about timing. That's what politics is about, timing. It's about not disrupting ties, both political and financial, with certain streams of commerce. Let me be even more fucking blunt. It is the same root of influence that is preventing the Brits from fully comprehending how things are allowed to descend into what they have in their nation. It's their own government. Mouth on a sandy knob. Saudi Arabia. Bought and sold. Every last drop first before we consider other means of energy. Environment, my fucking ass. In my town and all over our nation, the answer to the global population is being exploited under most of the people's radar as they keep selling their homes under these stupid circumstances. I just watched a string of homes bought off right here in this town and demolished strategically within a selected square of real estate. The square is important. You see, the game is as follows. Condos, 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 and more fucking condos. See, you don't need so much land when you're building straight up into the sky where there is plenty of room. Get the picture? And where do you think the money is coming from? You better fucking wake up. But in a way, you might as well realize at the same time, it's too fucking late. There will be no reversal of this slide into shit. And good luck going up against that kind of money. And back to the stupid leftist mentality. Back in 2015, just before Justin was elected, a friend of mine, a Waterloo graduate actually, from back in the 70s, was going on about how we needed to keep Harper out as he was big oil. What this university grad with 2 fucking degrees was suggesting was that just because the conservatives were suggesting that we should be looking into exploiting our own resources in the energy sector, that would automatically mean an increase in emissions. I'm suddenly reminded of Walter Matthau describing his friend Jack Lemmon as being the stupidest Harvard graduate he ever met. You get that? 2 fucking degrees, this guy. 1 in environmental science, but this guy couldn't even set up an aquarium. I shit you not. Superiority complex, right? So confident, right? So fucking stupid. There was no reason to draw that conclusion. The real fucking reason Harper was ousted was when a certain populace or group didn't appreciate Harper was in support of Israel. That's the fact. And Justin's tongue was right up the hole of this horse shit. He's got the socks to prove it. In fact, the stupid liberals failed to see one immutable fucking fact concerning Captain Planet's idiotic environmental crusade against emissions in Canada. Here is the uncomfortable truth. His mission simply did not, and still doesn't, go hand in hand, and was incompatible with an immigration policy that rushes in a new population that before leaving their own nations of origin never owned a fucking automobile before. And it followed that are locked into a rather quick pattern or plan where owning a vehicle is one of the 3 main prioritized goals of the newly landed. You catch my drift? Contradictory reasoning. Fucking la la land. LOL. Again, doesn't feel good, but don't shoot the messenger. The result? More automobiles on the road despite not having much of a pot to piss in. And let's not forget the social affects and effects. Once remote, quiet towns of forest and farmland, congested and screaming with stunt-driving imbeciles night after night after fucking night, running hand in hand with the new normalcy of sirens. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Pieces of bleep. Some are also aggressively intimidating certain people, 6th and 7th generation Canadians, simply for the crime of being walking pedestrians. Yeah, we are quick to ignore how the poor are treated in the dung heaps they fled from. In their low sense of status, they figure the automobile will be their new barometer to indicate good or bad people. What do people expect? Compassion? It's a low form of reasoning from a low self-esteem. It becomes abusive. We already know biologically that rats have a tendency to know when another is helpless, and they act upon that. I'm talking about actual biological studies of rats. Do your own homework. Or not. A little late in the game now, anyway. It's funny how in the sexual revolution and all the manufacturing of dildos and sex toys, a strap-on was not designed where the user humps his own butt. The Western world certainly became an expert in this, it seems. Just saying. Yeah, well, let's face it. It's okay. That's the end of the quote that was offered up to be posted and was deemed as not making a relevant argument. It's bullshit. It's not about the argument being irrelevant. Who cares? What if I went on there with my keyboard and just said blah 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 and put a bunch of gibberish there that didn't make any sense at all? You think it would say irrelevant argument? No, it wasn't. What has been said in the comment was registered. It doesn't care if it's relevant or not. There are certain things that this particular setup with the use of AI does not want to hear. I'm sorry, but it's begun. And how did it fly under the radar? Right? How was that right taken from you? Your freedom of speech. Never mind freedom of speech, but just being aware of the situation. Never mind left, right, and all that bullshit. It's a sucker play. And it's playing the people against one another. But that's not even the point. The point is, how far do you want to take it when the truth itself is being suppressed in order not to offend anyone? Hey, look, everyone's offended these days, one way or another. You know? Whether it's groupthink mentality or people with heads down in their fucking apartment staring into a fucking screen hour after hour, not really being in touch with what's going on. They feel the impact of what's going on, but they'd rather have you making war with your opposition, thinking that's the problem. Thinking it's a matter of who that person is, who they think they are, and who they think the other guy is. Facts and truth don't really have any place there. It's more about social identity, social credit. It's about moods, how what you say makes a person feel, if it's good or bad. I mean, playing completely into their hands. But what shocked me the most was just the fact that these points made, you can fact check it all too. Check each one of those points mentioned. Do your own homework instead of just sitting there feeling shit and going along this way, left or right. Go check the points made. Go check the history of the stats. Everything that was mentioned in this comment, check it out for yourself. Ask people. Ask your older generation if they remember some of those things too. Go ahead. Go find out for yourself. But will it really fucking matter? If the thing that's going to determine whether or not people are aware is whether or not they want to listen because what they're hearing doesn't make them feel good? You get that? It's like the world becoming a fucking mental patient, right? You know, the whole fucking thing needs Prozac, right? Fuck that. Feel good, feel bad. Just, don't suppress the truth. And don't let your fucking devices do it for you either. That's some horse shit going on there. That wasn't monitored by a person or an individual. That's AI. This is new implement placed on this particular channel. And I'm not going to mention that channel because that would create a pressure on that particular individual, which I think is well-meaning. It's just misinformed. It wouldn't be fair to come down on them like this. But understand, there's a movement taking place where AI is going to filter your content. It's ridiculous. Remember, it started with the banning of certain words on certain platforms. But the thing was, Although we could understand why certain words were being banned, we couldn't understand how they would be banned no matter what the context. That's some bullshit right there. That's fucking dictatorship, bro. And you know what's funny about the oil sand thing, too? The years, the terms and terms where it was suppressed and suppressed and suppressed by Trudeau's Liberals, right? But now Carney is starting to listen to Poilievre, right? Seems to be a mutual back scratching going on there. Now they're kind of looking into it, right? Why? Timing. Now it's okay to start considering these new resources. What a load of shit. What a load of shit. And it seems like there'll be no end to people like getting duped into it. Yeah, I'm all for it. Exploiting our own resources. You know? We're almost, what's wrong with that? Right? There was no reason to believe that that would increase emissions. What a crock of shit. What will increase emissions happens to be newly landed. The first thing they want is a vehicle. That means more vehicles on the road. What do you think? What do you think? All these people are just going to be content to take the bus or take, public transportation or ride a bicycle? Are you fucking nuts? It's, like I said, it's one of the first 3 priorities that they have when they come. This isn't about hatred. This isn't about cultural difference. This isn't about racism. It's not about any of that shit. It doesn't matter. It's talking about a government that on the one hand says they're so concerned with the environment, this and that, and at the same time holds tightly to a policy which increases fuel consumption. Completely contradictory. But that's just it. It's all doublespeak, folks. It's like appealing to the largest possible percentage of voters. It's just naked pragmatism. It's bullshit. So what I'm getting at is the virtue signaling isn't the same as understanding. And the rah-rah cheerleading squads of fucking elites that can afford to remain aloof from the general public can get up there and bandwagon a whole bunch of shit. And they'll get the support from people that don't really represent critical thinking. This isn't about being liked or not liked. I don't give a shit. It's about something else. It's about, where does the truth lie? Does the truth lie with the multitudes? Fat fucking chance.